The Saviors arrive at HIlltop looking to take someone back with them. And that sends Maggie and Daryl into hiding, and Sasha and Rosita straight off on their mission to put Negan in the crosshairs. And, shoot him. It's The Walking Dead, Season 7, Episode 14. The Other Side. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of The Walking Dead. So of course, spoilers coming up. This is your warning. Alright, we are moving towards the big finale here, of course. We're setting all of the pieces in their position. And this week, of course, we're focusing a bit more on HIlltop and that little group. And I loved how it opened up, specifically with that shot of Maggie kind of walking through HIlltop, seeing everyone busy with that big smile on her face. Leadership comes so naturally to her. And this is kind of the perfect summation of what she and Sasha have really been doing at HIlltop. They've got a forge, which is awesome looking. A cool little trident looked like they were making. But of course, they're also making not only spears, but knives. Lots of cool homemade knives. Training everybody in the use of them, working on throwing skills. Edith, good job. So overall, really starting the plan towards the future. Well, that's what Maggie is doing. Through all of her stuff, you can really see she's planning for the future. Supplies, training, scheduling, what they need. Sasha, on the other hand, while she is training the hillside residents in some combat, really focusing on revenge. That whole opening sequence, she is trying to memorize Negan's compound, make sure she gets all the information right. So we're really seeing in some ways here Maggie planning for the future, while Sasha is planning to kill. And by going after Negan, no future. Future, no future. And that's sort of where we set things up when Rosita arrives. And I love that they did that in the opening because it gives us a good time frame of when things happen. Daryl is already there, so everything that we saw last week with the Kingdom happened most likely when Michonne and Rick were still out on their supply run. Then we have Rosita's bit, then she shows up here. During all of that, we have Maggie and Sasha training everyone. So I like it whenever they give those little connections there, when they've got especially so many separate stories going on, to link them up and sort of we get to see the time frame that everything is sort of playing out in. So I really enjoyed that. But of course, the big move here, we have the arrival of the Saviors, Simon. I always love seeing Simon. Yes, he's creepy. Yes, he's dangerous. Yes, he's right-hand man. But he's also kind of funny. So, I just kind of enjoyed that. The whole opening bit between him and Gregory, where Gregory is offering him the gin, and Simon goes off on his whole changing of tastes, and now gin tastes like turpentine, he's in a tequila mode now. This is just fun little character work. It gives depth to everybody. And yes, we're going to want to see Simon dead at some point. But while he's here, we might as well enjoy him. So it's really, on that point, we're seeing a lot of the dynamic between Gregory and Simon. And I was, honestly, through most of this episode, I was kind of waiting for Gregory to try and turn Maggie in. To just kind of get that off. He is feeling threatened. You can feel that throughout, even that last discussion he has with Simon, saying someone may come up and someone may do this. And that almost bit him on the ass because Simon doesn't mess around. None of the Saviors do. So when he says that something may come up, that someone may be planning something, Simon's quick push in who? What are they planning? Tell me about it right now. Gregory doesn't have answers. He's not prepared for that. And he's not prepared to give Maggie up, even though while we're half expecting him to do so. The reality is she's been there too long. So he's in kind of a double trouble situation. If he turns her in, then he's been hiding her, and why didn't he say anything about it before? If he doesn't turn her in, he could either be overthrown by her, which is probably what's going to happen, Or if she does get discovered, if while the Saviors are there, they ran into Maggie and or Daryl or any of those people that Gregory hasn't volunteered or there, the Saviors are going to come after him. So he's kind of in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Which is why I think he was kind of pushing that need for Gregory to kind of get some backup. On the other hand, by doing that, he got, I think, the Savior's address. And now that Gregory knows where they are, if, say, Sasha and Rosita get caught, or somebody else does over at the sanctuary, then I think it will probably come back very harshly on Gregory. So he is maneuvering to put himself in a good position, but by doing so, I think he might have set himself up for his eventual fall. Now, speaking of Daryl and Maggie, we finally got the good scenes with them together that I've been kind of waiting for ever since Rick showed up at the right at the break there for the mid-season, and we started seeing everybody was together and they're going to have their little moves and they're starting to plan forward. We never saw any engagement between Maggie and Daryl, and so it was nice that we had those moments now in order for that to happen. And it's really clear right now that Maggie pretty much forgives Daryl. I mean, even before they had their conversation in the cellar there, you could see from that one shot where she brings Daryl over some food, and he, of course, is sitting away in the dark, not even facing her, by herself. That said everything. That says that Maggie forgives Daryl. I mean, if there was anything to forgive, as we find later on, it's not like she ever blamed him for it anyway. But she forgives Daryl. Daryl does not forgive himself. And I love that first sequence because that really does frame it without saying anything. Just her going over, giving him food, him not responding, patting on the back. And when he does turn is that moment where you can tell is she feels all that energy and she's having one of those Glenn moments of just, I miss him and kind of breaking down. And that sort of pushes Daryl back a little bit more. So, I mean, it was nice to have these scenes. But really, of course, it comes down to that moment in the cellar when they do finally get to talk and sort of hash it all out. And it was beautiful. I like the fact that Maggie brings up not only that Daryl's a good man, but that Glenn thought that he was a good man. And of course, it's not his fault. I mean, yes, we're seeing if you didn't punch, if you didn't go after Negan there, then he wouldn't have gone after Glenn. Maybe not. Hard to say. Everybody wanted to take out Negan right there after what he did to Abraham. So she wanted to kill him also. Everybody does. She doesn't blame him. He is only blaming himself. He is only feeling bad about that. So I love that last final little connection when they hug it out and she says, you know, we need to win. I need you. Help me to win. And I think that that's perfect because that gives Daryl a mission. It clears his mind and it gives him a mission and backup and a focus, which is really what Daryl kind of needs right now. But of course, really, it's Sasha and Rosita are kind of the main thrust of this particular episode in the sense of it's kind of a handoff. Sasha has been a very strong character, very leading character. Rosita a little bit more in the background. Rosita has just been sort of playing kind of the bitch for the past few episodes. But this is where things change off, where we start to see Sinigo Martin Green, Sasha, is getting ready to head towards her exit, and she is passing the torch on to Rosita. That's really what most of their scenes, I think, in this really played towards. And it's, you know, in some ways, while, like I said, it was in the beginning where Maggie was planning for the future and Sasha was planning to kill. I mean, I said to die, but in some ways it really is just to kill because we can see it in even more focus when she is with Rosita. Sasha actually has a plan to try and get him without necessarily getting themselves killed. Yes, it is likely. Yes, she is willing to do so. But she's not totally planning to just die. Whereas Rosita really is. Her willingness to want to go in, it's like, forget from shooting afar, we got to go in, it's got to be personal, I've got to be ready, you know, we got to make sure that it's done. First of all, you were 1.5 feet away from Negan before, you shot him at near point blank, and you hit his bat. So being close is not going to guarantee a shot or anything else. It's not going to guarantee success. It will guarantee that you're going to die no matter what. So we get that sort of dynamic going on between Sasha and Rosita, and it's really kind of builds up all the way until the end because they're butting heads back and forth. And it makes sense. Rosita has a certain amount of anger towards Sasha. She took his man and then he died. And yes, we do find out the whole story on it, and I think that that was important. But there was definitely a lot of button pushing on the way up to it. I mean, that Sasha's wearing Abraham's necklace and it's hanging out, and that not only is it Abraham's necklace, but Abraham's necklace that was made by Rosita. There's a whole kind of mess up going on. But in some ways, again, it's part of that handing off. It's kind of that change of character right there, where Sasha is starting to go in towards that final death moment as we got at the end, and Rosita may be the one to survive. And that really narrows down at the scene between the two of them, where we get the little background on Rosita, how she learned all of these skills, her jumping from guy to guy. They always thought that they needed to protect her, and then when she met Abraham, Abraham believed that Rosita could protect herself. And yeah, that is a strong motivator right there. That's going to connect you with someone. If you're treated totally different beforehand and now you've got someone that believes in your confidence, believes in your abilities, yeah, man, that's going to make a link right there for sure. But I also loved how the story kind of went on, where in some ways they were bound to start to split up. Rosita wasn't comfortable in Alexandria after being on the run for so long. Now learning to possibly live a normal life was not right with her. So at the end, when she says, I thought I was angry with you, but I was really angry that Abraham was ready to get his shit dealt with before I was. And that she is not going to have the opportunity to tell Abraham that she was happy that he was happy. So in a moment, and in one scene, that changes everything for Rosita. It changes everything about how we feel for her. Because before she's acting like a bitch, just striking out. Now she finally collapses. We see the inside. We see what's actually motivating her. So of course we identify with. And of course it's not a dickish motivation. It is really self-reflective. And I think even that conversation allowed that movement forward. So then when they get to the end of the episode, and they do that switch where suddenly, first of all, why are you trying to well, I mean, there's a couple of things there. One, getting to the fence. Okay, so we got Eugene really enjoying his role, sending people off, sending saviors off to neighboring buildings to look for walkers to add up more to the gate. So they've got to pull out. That does not mean that you have to go in. What that means is you pull back a few blocks, you wait for them to clear, then you come back in. You don't just run right into the lion's nest right there, into the den. Lion's nest. Okay, that's mixing metaphors. But you know what I mean. You just take your time. There's no rush right here. But they do rush in. They try to get Eugene, and and it's okay. I know I said before that I think given the opportunity that Eugene would go with the Alexandrians, this was his opportunity and he decided to stay with Negan. I don't think that necessarily means he's turned. Obviously he's more comfortable there, he's got more stuff, he's got respect, he has jobs to do. But he also knows what happens if you run away and the consequences of what that happened. I think the whole reason the Saviors need a new doc because of what happened to the previous doc really educated Eugene on what the consequences of that are for. So I think his thought right there is you can't just run away. I mean, Daryl ran away and they're all chasing him down. Eugene doesn't want to be on the run. He wants to be comfortable. There is no point, and there's going to be retribution if he does leave. So I think Eugene there is honestly in a way being smart. This isn't the time. There's no reason to do it. And he doesn't turn them in. He just leaves and says, go away. So that's, I think Eugene is still on the plus side. I don't think he's drank the Kool-Aid entirely. But I think that this was an appropriate move for him. I mean, regardless of how he's thinking. But that big turnaround, as I was leading to, when when Sasha has Rosita cover and then she goes through and padlocks the gate shut, I guess, I mean, if you have the cutters, you just cut around that, but that wasn't the point. Again, that is Sasha telling Rosita, okay, you have all these skills, you have all these things that you know that are going to contribute, stuff that Sasha doesn't know about, that doesn't have. It is better at this stage that Sasha's going in. They have committed themselves to killing Negan, which is why she kind of protects Rosita at that point. Rosita is willing to go in and get herself killed. Sasha does not want her dead. That's why she locks up things behind her and runs off. Now, again, I don't think they needed to run in right now and do it. But we know Sonequa Martin Green is getting ready to head off to Star Trek Discovery, so this is probably going to be her final farewell. Which actually, I just had a thought like this. After Walking Dead, does everybody go to space? I mean, we have Sonequa Martin Green is going to Star Trek Discovery, okay? Her brother Tyrese is over on the Expanse, one of the Belters. We have Lori, who is over on Colony on USA, which isn't in space, it's on Earth, but it does deal with aliens, so kind of the same. And then, of course, we got Merle, Guardians of the Galaxy. So, is that what happens after Walking Dead? You go to space. I guess, that's the thing. All right, so and then as things wrap up, as Rosita is running away there, sorry about the aside, but as Rosita is running away then, right afterwards, she sees a form, a shadow. Looks like Daryl. And of course, in just the previous scene, we had Daryl running in and asking Jesus, where are Sasha and Rosita? So it's easy to imply that that is Daryl, but that would have been really quick for him to get over there, assuming matching times. However, who is also could be is Dwight, with Daryl's crossbow and wearing Daryl's jacket, and he's got the longish hair too. So yes, in some ways we're thinking right off, oh, it's Daryl come to get him. But it could also be Dwight. And that might put Dwight in a real interesting position because I think he's feeling on his way out. So running into this opportunity, what choices is he going to make? All right, just a couple of bits in the episode that sort of stood out to me. One, the Savior correcting Edith's use of language. Vegetable. We have time. It's not veggies. I just find that hilarious that he's spending a moment to correct her syntax. But still creepy because, of course, he immediately demands the knife off of her or threatens to cut it off. So, yeah, wants good English, but still scary guy. Simon does have an expressive face. I love that when he's coming to get the Doc. Also, poor Doc. That was his brother that got thrown into the fire. You know, he's not feeling totally good about heading up to the sanctuary. Oh, and of course, in the same scene, the crate of aspirin. Here, I haven't left you with any medical choices. Here's a crate of aspirin. You know, like, take 2 aspirin and call me in the... Well, you can't call. There's no working phones yet. But, okay, it's a start. Oh, and lastly, the hiding place downstairs in the cellar. You need to put some burlap or something behind those shelves because human faces and eyes, very attention-grabbing. All right, so I think that pretty much covers everything for this week. We've got Sasha in the compound, in the sanctuary, looking for Negan. I don't think that's going to work out too well for her. We got Rosita. Is she with Daryl? Is she with Dwight? What's going to happen with her? And then, of course, we have the rest of the Alexandrians, Rick and company. It looks like they are going to be heading up towards Oceanside. Tara has already given up her secret, and they need those guns. So hopefully that's going to go not horribly, we'll just say. So if you did enjoy this review, please go ahead and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, personal interpretations of this episode, go ahead, throw those down in the comments section below. Now, you can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram, of course. I'm at Darren Jakes. Like I said, we only got 2 more episodes left. We're also going to be wrapping things up with Black Sails and Legion, which is on Wednesday nights, a couple of episodes left of that. So we are wrapping up this kind of sequence of shows. I hope that you've been enjoying those before we jump back into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on April 4th. So If you are not a subscriber and you love those shows and don't want to miss anything, become one. You can do that by hitting my face right there. That will make you a subscriber. And I will throw up a copy of a link to this week's Black Sails episode. Oh, so good. You guys don't want to miss that. So, I am D, and I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys next time. Take it easy. Bye-bye.